check.
How much did you start the hand with approximately?
2.5.
I'm all in.
I call.
Whoa.
Jake goes all in and gets called.
Yeah, Jake in a terrible place has pushed. Little did he know how strong Bill's hand was.
Well, little do they know how many chips he's got, Vince, because Bill has more chips than he announced, which was 2.5 million.
It's close. I mean, I should have asked for an exact. I should have. He just said 2.5, and I took his.
And now Jake's realizing it, and maybe it would have made a difference.
Well, it may have, Vince.
He said 250.
He knew even if he lost the pot, he'd still have half his chips left, but now he's not going to have near that amount.
Maybe Jake could outflop him here. Let's see. No, it's a king. 9-6, 2 clubs. King's there for Bill Jennings.
Well, great flop for Bill.
How do you like your chance right now? Pretty good? Pretty good.
Jake now has to catch 2 runners to win this pot.
Pretty big dog at this point. Bill well out in front to double up, and it's a 5 on the turn.
So Jake Schwartz drawing dead here. Now we're going to find out exactly how many chips that Bill Jennings had. And it is more than 2.5 million, and Jake is not a happy camper about it.
Are you kidding me? It's like 3.5.
And that's why I made him break it down. I wouldn't even call on 100%. I just want to know what it was for future, just in case he tries to say that again.
That's like 3.5. All right, I guess it's cool to angle at final tables for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Jake, I looked at the screen. It said 2.45 the last time I
The
looked.
screen's obviously wrong.
Hey, ask for a count then.
I did. You said 2.5.
Well, then count it out next time.
Stack your chips like a normal human being.
Well, that's why I stacked them that way, so you'd make a bad decision.
All right, we're cheating these days. It's cool.
Wow. Quite the controversy we are having tonight on the World Poker Tour. Let's see how it pans out in the conclusion of the 5-Diamond World Poker Classic here at Bellagio. For Mike Sexton, Vince Van Patten, Tony Dunst, the Royal Flush Girls, and everyone at the World Poker Tour, I'm Lynn Gilmartin. See you next time on the WPT.
I don't understand what this is for.
Imagine getting paid to do things you do every day. We won't.
Good afternoon and happy Wednesday. I'm your host, Cheryl Nutt. This is your hour, and I'm in our brand new kitchen set. I'm not going to do anything with it. I just wanted to show it off. Anyway, if you know someone who would like to do some cooking segments, I'd like to talk to them at 316-337-5501. Anyway, let's take a look at today in history.
May 17th, 1954. In Washington, the U.S. Supreme Court strikes down racially segregated public schools as separate and unequal. The court's ruling in Brown versus Board of Education of Topeka fuels America's civil rights movement and the eventual end of legal segregation in the United States. 1973. Also in Washington, a U.S. Senate committee begins public hearings to investigate the Watergate scandal. Senator Sam Ervin, Democrat from North Carolina, is in the committee chair.
If the many allegations made to this date are true, then the burglars who broke into the headquarters of the Democratic National Committee at Watergate were in effect breaking into the home of every citizen of the United States.
The following year, the scandal forces Richard Nixon to become the first president to resign from office. And 1875. The horse Aristides wins the first Kentucky Derby, held at the track in Louisville, Kentucky, that eventually becomes known as Churchill Downs. Today in history, May 17th, Ross Simpson, The Associated Press.
Well, stick around because coming up first is Mary Halsig with Mary Halsig Insurance and LT Care Solutions, and Eric Litweiler.
I didn't know that the roots of wisdom teeth can lengthen and become entangled around the nerves in the lower jaw. My surgery was more complicated, and I had to reschedule my family vacation.
I had a cyst around my impacted wisdom tooth. I was referred to an OMS to have it removed. I was so worried. I wish I would have taken care of this when I was younger.
Some things get better with age. Your wisdom teeth are not one of them. Visit myoms.org to find an OMS near you.
Hair, that's our business. We're Riverside Hair Station at the corner of 11th and Bidding. We're a cool, funky salon with modern styles and a relaxed atmosphere. Locally owned and operated in the heart of Riverside. Specializing in all hair services, we also offer tanning, nails, massage, waxing, and makeup. Gift certificates are always available. So come experience Riverside Hair Station at 816 West 11th or call 264-4807.
For 32 years, Mark and Sean, with 75 years combined experience, have operated the Derby Radio Shack, doing business at 707 North Baltimore, right on Highway K15. With condensers, resistors, fuses, solid-state electronic components, the largest selection of TV antennas with accessories, and whew, we have just too many things to list them all. You'll find all the parts you hobbyists need, and more are in stock. All you ham radio enthusiasts should come in to see our huge inventory of new or used amateur radio and test equipment. Shop assured that Derby Radio Shack has something for everyone. Remember, Derby Radio Shack is still your neighborhood consumer electronics convenience store located at 707 North Baltimore in Derby.
Welcome back to Your Hour. Joining me now is Mary Halsig from Mary Halsig Insurance and LT Care Solutions. And you had some interesting things to talk about today.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about music. You know, I've been a musician my whole life. And one of the things that I do, I have, one of the reasons that I first got into doing insurance was because the first reason was that it was a family business.
Mm-hmm.
And I had cousins that were already doing it, and I thought, I want to be around family and have a business around family. But also, I could schedule myself as far as how running my business so that I could still teach some private lessons and keep myself alive in music as well. Because I've been a musician. I mean, I started when I was 2, begging my mother to teach me to play the piano. And she said she would teach me to play the piano as soon as I could reach the pedals. Well, I figured out by the time I was 4 that if I stood up, that I could reach those pedals. And so she said, fine, I'll teach you. And she taught me how to read. And she taught me how to read.
You were persistent.
I was. Well, she was she was a pretty good piano player. And I just really adored that. But music, it doesn't necessarily run in my whole family. I have a brother who's a brilliant guitarist, and my sister sings, and then I have another sister that sings. My daughters have gorgeous voices. And but what I am mostly intrigued with is the way that I see it affecting people.
Yes.
And so because as I started to work with healthcare, and I look for all different ways, and we've talked often about the gym memberships and the socialization of all of that.
Sure.
Well, I'm very interested in how music helps develop young minds and how it helps to heal older minds.
Yes. Because I noticed when my mother was living in a skilled care, skilled nursing home, they had musicians would come in a lot of times, and they'd play the piano or they'd play the guitar, but they'd sing old songs. And those people, some of the people that were there couldn't remember their own names, but they could remember the words to those songs.
Yes, and I have sat down with people, and I'll sometimes go and just play for somebody who is maybe their health is failing, or they're lonely, or maybe they have dementia. And what's interesting to me is some of the people that have they have dementia. Their spouses are, concerned because they're not very coherent,
Yeah.
and they feel like they're slipping away. We sit down and do music that they love, try to the best we can, and I sit down and I play songs, and then all of a sudden there they are.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's a miracle when that happens, and they can actually then they communicate for a while and get to tell stories and talk, and that spouse, that husband or wife, gets to experience their person.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen every single time, and I wish it did, but it can be very powerful. And then I thought, well, there's, because I noticed that with dementia, people who have had strokes it can help remake connections in the brain. Music connections, as they taught us in music education, that a connection that's made in your brain with music can carry any type of information. So math travels on math pathways.
Yeah.
And science travels on science pathways, physics, whatever. And but music, anything can travel on those pathways. And that's the reason that they say music makes you smarter. It's just that it's a different type of pathway. I believe we're made of music. I think we must be. But I looked at some of these other things that the National Center for Complementary Integrative Health had just made a list here of things that it can help with: pain, anxiety. It's mixed on autism. I know that when I was in a school and we had kids with autism, that they absolutely loved coming to hear the choir sing. And I would do a special concert where they would just sit on the floor and the choir would sit in their choir seats, that were elevated, and they would do a concert so that the kids with autism could respond to the music any way they wanted to.
Yeah.
So if they were loud, or if they danced, or whatever it was they did, and then we played music games. I have no research that tells me that has a long-lasting effect, but they sure enjoyed it at the time. It helps with depression, and they're looking at, it helps with pain for people with MS, Parkinson's disease, sleep problems, stress, stroke. So there's all kinds of areas that music can help with, and sometimes it's listening, but also making music. It helps you. It has the same effect as learning any other skill. It's that feeling of accomplishment, and then hearing what it is that you have made.
Yeah.
When you put it together, and then singing has other advantages. So because of the breathing and all of that. So it's just you can do so much. And if somebody wants to be with other people and make music, they can go to Garton's and get in the goofing around piano class.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, so there's all different ways you can make music out there.
When I try to sing in public, I get this, sing in your head, Cheryl.
They just don't know the joy.
Mary, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll be back with Eric Litweiler with MHA, so stick around. My dad used to say that.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player. No matter the challenges I face every day in the NFL, my mom is always there for me, despite her own struggles with muscular dystrophy. And MDA is there for my mom. At their 150 care centers across the U.S., MDA is the leading organization in research and care for kids and adults with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Join me and learn more at helpmda.org today. Thank you.
As a parent, you know you can't prevent every accident. Add a mouthguard to your child's sports or recreational equipment list to help prevent the impact of a painful and costly facial injury. If your child does sustain a facial injury, seek an evaluation from an oral and maxillofacial surgeon. OMSs are experts in handling injuries to the face, mouth, and jaws. Learn more at myoms.org.
Hey you! Stop and listen. This is a public service announcement with Dakari Chapman. Why should you know your Constitution, and why should you know your rights as a U.S. citizen? How would you like it if someone didn't allow your club to meet at your house? I wouldn't, because that's not cool. How would you like to be tried without a jury? I wouldn't, because that's not cool. These things are not cool. Learn your rights as a U.S. citizen so you know what to do in these situations. Thanks for listening, and remember, it's an American thing, so learn it.
I want to feel useful. I have so much time now, and you know I love children. Catholic Charities Foster Grandparent Program has been good for me. I work at a school near my home, spending time with the children and helping them learn. They call me Grandma, and I like that. I work 20 hours a week. Every 2 weeks I get a check, and that helps me with my medications. I love the children. You should see the drawings they make for me. To learn more about being a foster grandparent, please call 264-8344. Provide help and create hope today. Welcome back to Your Hour. Joining us now is Eric Litweiler with MHA, which is Mental Health Association of South Central Kansas. It's hard to say with my retainer.
Oh, sure, yes, I remember those days.
Anyway, you wanted to talk about a warm line?
I did, yeah. So we just rolled this out. This became official on Monday. It's apparently something that MHA used to have, and we were just able to secure funding to now start having it again after a number of years of absence. So yeah, it's not a full-blown hotline, as you pointed out, but basically the Warm Line is kind of it's another telephone support resource, not unlike ComCare's 24-hour crisis line or the national suicide hotlines that exist around the country. This is a local telephone resource. It is available 7 days a week, but only from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. So basically kind of those hours immediately after business hours when other mental health organizations might have shut down for the day. That's when we kind of become available. And really the intent of it is to try to provide those telephone supports to people preemptively before they find themselves in the midst of a mental health crisis. If you feel something coming on, if you're triggered by something, or something really rough happened at work, or whatever it might be, this is kind of an opportunity for our folks to kind of de-escalate that situation. So rather than not having anyone to call, and then someone calling 911, or you calling 911, or going to a hospital emergency room or something because it's a crisis, this is kind of a way to preemptively de-escalate that situation so it doesn't become a crisis in the first place.
Well, that's a really cool deal.
Yeah.
So who mans these lines?
So MHA staff, they're predominantly staffed by peer specialists.
Okay.
So these are folks who, in theory, are roughly the same age as you. A lot of them have been through similar mental health crises as you, or at least mental health diagnoses or situations as you. And so they really have a very good idea, more than likely, about what you're talking about when you call. If you call and say, hey, I'm feeling a lot of anxiety, odds are pretty good the person answering that phone has lived with anxiety as well, or at the very least works at MHA with people who live with anxiety on a daily basis. So they have a very good understanding of what you're going through. They're trained on coping skills and mechanisms and de-escalation techniques and all those sorts of things. And worst case scenario, in fact, this has been up and running for a week prior to Monday, and the reason for that was because we understand that some calls will come in that maybe are a little beyond what a peer specialist can handle. So we took advantage of that week to practice transferring calls back and forth between ComCare's 24-hour crisis line. So if we're getting a call and it's more than we can handle, it's gone beyond the point that we can handle, we are able to transfer it exactly to ComCare. Similarly, ComCare can do the same thing. If they get a call that's not a crisis, but fits within the purview of what we're offering through the Warm Line, they'll transfer those calls to us. So it's really, the point of it is to try to ensure that the resources available here in the community are being allocated as efficiently as possible. And that's best for all organizations involved, and frankly, it's best for the people calling the number as well.
What always gets me, and I see this happening a lot, is when somebody is feeling stressed or feeling anxiety and they express that to somebody, sometimes the person they express it to doesn't get it.
Yeah.
They don't understand, and so they're trying to tell them they shouldn't feel that
Yeah.
way. Well, you can't tell people how they can feel.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And, you know, that's been a big part of our mission at MHA since we started here back in 1957, was trying to raise the level of education and understanding surrounding mental health. I've had people say, I have neighbors with depression. I went over and told them to cheer up. Like, oh, well, problem solved. You know, and honestly, when I first started at MHA, I had people come in. I had a guy running for city council come in, very successful businessman, active in politics, loving family, daughter in college, all the good things to live for. And he shared with me that he lived with depression and had been suicidal at different times during his life. But yeah, it's not a situation where you can tell someone why they shouldn't be depressed. And so it's like as if we forgot the good things in our lives. I made the analogy at a speech a few weeks ago where I said, you know, imagine for a second if you were walking down the street and dropped your phone, but the nerves in your chest, I guess, and your shoulder were not connected. You know, all you have to do is bend over and your arm will automatically grasp the phone. But if those nerves are not connected, your phone's just going to hang there lifelessly and not be able to get the phone. It's a very similar thing in mental health. The parts of your brain that understand objectively the good things that are going on in your life are not connected to the emotional sensors of your brain. So academically, you understand why you should be happy, but those emotional sensors are not connected. They're not, those two sides of your brain are not being connected. So the happiness you should be feeling, it's not possible to feel. Just like it's not possible to move your fingers as your arm swings there lifelessly. So it's a very kind of a similar situation. And yeah, telling them to cheer up, telling them to calm down, not going to solve anything.
Yeah.
It genuinely is an illness.
Yeah.
It's not a mood, it's an illness.
Well, it's like when you say things like that to them, that you're basically telling them that you're dismissing their feelings as being irrelevant. You can't do that.
No. It's just demonstration that our community and frankly the entire population really doesn't understand what a mental illness is, and that's why education is such a core component of what we do. This is one more tool. This number is one more tool in our arsenal. But in a given year, we've got between 30 and 35 programs, and they're dedicated to children's mental health. They're dedicated to adults and families, to seniors. You know, and it's case management, it's supported employment, it's smoking cessation. But it's not unlike a hospital. You go in a hospital and you see the sign hanging from the ceiling, and cardiology is that way, and gastroenterology is that way, and oncology is that way. We understand in a hospital environment, a healthcare environment for physical issues, that there are different specialties, and each one has unique needs. It's the same thing at MHA. We don't have a sign hanging from the ceiling, but there are different specialties, different programs, different practitioners. They all have different educational backgrounds and experiential backgrounds. And depending on what your needs are, we have to direct you to different places. Our intake process is kind of an extension of the warm line. You know, you don't have to be a consumer of MHA to use this. This is open to the entire community. But if you do need assistance and you go through our physical intake process, it's designed to figure out which one of those places to direct you to based on your particular needs, whether it's youth case management or adult supported employment or senior fraud abuse or whatever it is. You know, we direct you to the right place. And the warm line, you know, I don't think it's really necessarily geared toward people in the community saying that we have to get you in as a consumer. It's available to you no matter what. If you're anyone in Wichita, this number is available to you.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And that number is?
It's 260-2340. Hopefully.
That's my neighbor Joe. Hey, Joe. Hey, John. Joe's about to make a big mistake. Hey, Joe, think it might be a good idea to call 811 to have the utilities marked before you start digging?
I'm not digging very deep. It's no big deal.
No big deal.
Dad, the TV's out. Internet, too.
Remember, safe digging always starts with a free call to 811. Oh, what a knucklehead.
Your home is your castle, and it's your biggest investment. It doesn't matter if it needs new exterior paint, new siding, a sunny new deck, a kitchen update with wallpaper removal, or new cabinets with a granite top. Your home can be like new with a paint job or flooring. With 9 years experience and 5 years as a licensed insured business, Los Reyes Painting and Remodeling does residential or commercial work for a reasonable price. To get your free estimate to make your castle look like new, call 316-409-0002.
Hey you, stop and listen. This is a public service announcement with Dakari Chapman. Why should you know your Constitution, and why should you know your rights as a U.S. citizen? How would you like it if someone didn't allow your club to meet at your house? I wouldn't, because that's not cool. How would you like to be tried without a jury? I wouldn't, because that's not cool. These things are not cool. Learn your rights as a U.S. citizen so you know what to do in these situations. Thanks for listening, and remember, it's an American thing, so learn it.
Hair, that's our business. We're Riverside Hair Station at the corner of 11th and Bidding. We're a cool, funky salon with modern styles and a relaxed atmosphere. Locally owned and operated in the heart of Riverside. Specializing in all hair services, we also offer tanning, nails, massage, waxing, and makeup. Gift certificates are always available. So come experience Riverside Hair Station at 816 West 11th or call 264-4807.
Well, good afternoon. It is another wonderful day out there. The weather is increasing in terms of heat, which I don't care for, but it is doing it. But I want to first say a few things. Congratulations to all the graduates out there. So many people graduating from last week up until this week and next week, a lot that I know. So congratulations to all of you. Some of you who are very close to me as well. So I've followed your journey through high school, and I know you're going to be very successful individuals. Just stay focused and determined to get the goals that you're setting yourself for. Okay, so we want to do that. Secondly, Shay, the young lady that I know, she passed her state boards this morning for cosmetology. Shay, so everyone's talking about it and they're so happy for her. Definitely, Shay, congratulations to you. Cosmetology is a very, very hectic field. It is a hectic field because you can do someone's hair or makeup, or you can do whatever you can to enhance the aesthetics of an individual, and they come in wanting one thing and you try to give them what they want and it's not what they want, then they don't want to pay you and it's just a big mess. So it's going to be a trial for you, but I know that you will do it. So congratulations on that. Brandon Hoy, I know your dad, Jack Hoy, and everyone, your families, Machiavelli, I know all of them. And to know that you just graduated from law school and on your way to becoming a licensed attorney as well. And if not, you know you can always go and work in corporate America, doing work in HR, compliance, and all these other things. So congratulations to you on that. I know firsthand the hard work that go in to getting your Juris Doctorate degree. So I know the hard work that you had in front of you, and I know certainly what you're going to have ahead of you, okay? So congratulations, but I'm certainly out there. If you need to talk, bounce anything off of me, there's lots that you can do. All right, so I want to do that. I do want to say that with last time I was on, we talked about the laws that were being passed as it relates to transgender youth and the bill that has passed in some states that cut off their medication even in the midst of their transition, and it's causing all kinds of anxiety, trauma, some suicidal attempts. I tried to get Dr. Asani back on with us again today. I called him all week and stuff, and he's just really busy because of this law that have passed, or these bills that have passed, and the fact that he's working with some transgenders. He wasn't able to be back with me. So I'll make this my last subject on that. I want to say any civil rights organization that's out there that you truly believe in the rights of individuals and their freedom of choice in the Constitution within certain limits, then I think you should be on board to find out what's going on, especially here in the state of Kansas. The Wichita branch NAACP, where are you? The Civil Liberties Union, where are you? Our fraternities and our sororities, where are you? Are we promoting brotherhood and sisterhood? Let us be about the business of trying to find out what's going on, because every one of us have an equal part in this daily life. Every one of us. Things that we cannot change are things that we're trying to change. Leave them alone. You don't agree with certain things. If there's same genders walking in public holding hand, you have a problem with that. If there's same gender that's kissing on the sidewalk, you have a problem with that. But it's okay for others to do that. Well, you're discriminatory. There's a civil concern that's going on there as it relates to discrimination. Everyone, when it comes to being intimate, there are things that we should be doing behind our closed doors. We don't have to do all of these things in public. And if it's good for one person or one set, it's good for another set. So we can't say our children don't grow up learning hatred and being bigots. They're taught that along the way. And if it don't come from home, it's coming from the streets. It's coming from somewhere. Children grow up happy, loving, carefree, enjoying each other, okay? There may be a few that slide through that may be a little bit of a challenge, so to speak, but for the most part, they don't. Things that they learn are things that are there as they're going through this life. So I encourage you, I tried to find a psychiatrist that would come on air with me and talk about this today, and I don't know what the issue is, why they won't do it, but sooner or later I'm going to get a psychiatrist. And if you're out there and you're watching this show, I know that you are, don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can reach me anyone, anywhere, everyone knows how to reach me. And let's see if we can have a dialogue about this, because human rights, civil rights, constitutional rights, they are for everyone. And we should not be singling people out. I can't say it enough. We should not be singling people out because of your insecurity or your fear of the unknown. So let's not do that. Let's just really think. Get on your knees, let's pray about it, and let's move on with our daily lives, okay?
Nothing offers an opportunity to bond and give thanks quite like breaking bread together. This is especially true as we welcome our troops back home and keep those who are still stationed overseas in our hearts. Hi, I'm Gary Sinise. Since 2011, the Gary Sinise Foundation's Serving Heroes program has shown gratitude to our nation's defenders and their families by serving up nearly 500,000 hearty classic American meals at travel hubs and military locations. And now, together with our friends at Bob Evans Farms and their Our Farm Salutes program, we will help to provide even more meals nationwide, offering our defenders a taste of home and a feeling of togetherness around the table. Help us show America's gratitude through food and fellowship. Look for the Bob Evans Our Farm Salutes purple packaging at your grocery store and visit ourfarmsalutes.com to learn more. While we can never do enough to support the men and women who serve, together we can make a difference, bite by bite.
All of us have a role to play in promoting a mental health friendly workplace.
So what can I do to help?
As a CEO, I can set the tone for a supportive culture.
As a manager, I can offer assistance and accommodations.
As a coworker, I can be a source of support.
As someone with a mental health condition, I can ask for what I need to perform my best.
What can I do?
What can I do?
I can remind others that none of us are alone.
And that we all benefit from workplaces that promote good mental health.
Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
I'm burning through my cash now, 'cause I'm burning through my gas riding downtown. This is about to grow, no.
I understand it. The pressure to use tobacco, the pressure to vape, it's all around us these days. And we need to stand up and take down tobacco. So, join the movement and text TAKE DOWN to 38383.
Welcome back to Your Hour. Joining us now on Zoom is Jeff Elston with America's Policy Institute. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Cheryl, how are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. So,
Thanks for having me.
How many days has it been?
It has been 193 days since November 2nd election, and Congress has still done nothing about the issues facing America. So, it's probably time we want to do something. I was sitting here, I was watching your previous guest on there, and he made the comment of contact him. I don't know how, but I always have this whole thing ready for you and stuff, and then I watch him and stuff. Here's the thing. Here's what I have a question about. All right, and I'd like somebody to answer me. So they always ask us is why this and why that. Well, okay, so why isn't it okay for me not to like it? If I don't want that in my life, and I don't want that around me, and I don't want that in my kids, and I don't, why do they feel the need to legislate that and force these issues that guy represents on the rest of the public who is, you stop and look at it, the public, the Constitution, I get it, everybody, Cheryl, I'm old enough to know that at once upon a time, and if you remember, there was a saying, and you might remember this, they talked about coming out of the closet years ago, back in the, the 70s, I think it was, or the 80s, maybe, like they were talking about, coming out of the closet. So, but prior to that, we all knew that there was a lifestyle that people led that, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, they feel like that we all have to be able to accept this type of behavior when it's not what obviously America wants. Look what happened to the beer Bud Light. Obviously America is sick and tired of hearing about this stuff. So why don't we just stop talking about it and leave it alone? Leave our children alone, especially. And once you get to a certain age, 18, when it's okay to drink beer and shoot a gun and join the military and all that stuff, and you kind of have a little bit of wherewithal to make decisions in your life, then you can do whatever it is you want. But until that point comes, so my question is why isn't it my right to not want to have this in my life? So maybe he can answer that the next time he comes around, because I don't know how to get a hold of him. But anyway, let's move on. Article 2, Section 1, Clause 6 of the Constitution, all right, reads, I just put it all up here, and so in case, we're running out of time, right?
No, you got 4 minutes.
In case of the removal of president from office or his death, resignation, or inability to discharge the powers and duties of the said office, the same shall devolve on the vice president, and the Congress may by law provide for the case of removal, death, resignation, or inability, both of president and vice president, declaring what officer shall then act as president, and such officer shall act accordingly until the disability be removed or a president shall be elected. Now, Cheryl, that's pretty plain, isn't it? I mean, is there anything about that you kind of left unclear?
Nope, that's pretty straightforward.
Pretty straightforward, okay? But look, I didn't write the Constitution. Anyone can look this up, and the solution to Joe Biden's destruction of our country is right here, written down in perfectly understandable language. The Constitution is the solution. That's a new one I came up with. You like that? I think I might trademark that. The Constitution is the solution. I like that. But it's like a bully in the schoolyard, right? At some point, you have to stand up to them to make them stop. And that is why I developed America's Policy Institute. America's Policy Institute, we have pre-written policy or pre-written directives to back up the policies that are here that you can send to your state legislators, forcing them into action. And they have to take action on the orders that we send according to the Constitution. The Constitution is the solution. Man, I really like that. I thought about that a while ago, and I really like that. So, and we have a lot of different policies here for you to support. Our mission at America's Policy Institute is to change how we elect politicians. And our mission statement is support policy, not politicians. You know, that one change changes everything. It doesn't just level the playing field, it changes the game. Because all of a sudden we're focused on what policy we want, not the politician, and putting our faith and trust in them. So America's Policy Institute, one thing I want to point out to you, when you go to America's Policy Institute, make sure that you type in the www and the dot in front of that, because if you do, it'll take you straight to it. If not, you may not find us, because it seems like every search engine out there is fighting against us to get our word out. So make sure you type in the 3 W's and the dot in front of the ampolicy.com, and you'll be able to find us. You know, so our tax reform, that is, we want to repeal the 16th Amendment, Cheryl. We want to take their money away from them and only give them the money that they need to take care of the military, keep our borders secure, take care of the Medicare, just a few things. The rest of it, we need to keep here in our states. You know, I'm willing to stand up and be counted, but I can't do this alone. How about you? Have you had enough yet? This thing is headed completely out of control. And you know deep down in your guts that uniting together is the solution. So my question is, where are you, America? America's Policy Institute is giving us the solution. Where are you, America? You know, we have to, I'm sorry, we're out of time.
You've worked hard. You've earned a life that you can call your own. Retirement worries shouldn't get in the way. But many Americans like you are finding that retiring on a fixed income is harder than they expected. Fortunately, there are benefits programs that can help. Visit benefitscheckup.org to see if you're among the millions of people eligible for thousands of dollars in benefits to help you age well, so you can focus on what's really important. Benefits Checkup. You've earned this.
All of us have a role to play in promoting a mental health friendly workplace.
So what can I do to help?
As a CEO, I can set the tone for a supportive culture.
As a manager, I can offer assistance and accommodations.
As a coworker, I can be a source of support.
As someone with a mental health condition, I can ask for what I need to perform my best.
What can I do?
What can I do?
I can remind others that none of us are alone.
And that we all benefit from workplaces that promote good mental health.
Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
My little brother had these piercing blue eyes, like the ocean. He was just 33 when we lost him.
I had it made, living my dream playing professional football. Then my life hit rock bottom. I had an accidental opioid overdose.
If you know someone taking opioids, have a safety plan and talk about it.
It can happen to anyone you know or love. It happened to me.
Be prepared. Learn how at reversedsilence.org.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player. No matter the challenges I face every day in the NFL, my mom is always there for me, despite her own struggles with muscular dystrophy. And MDA is there for my mom. At their 150 care centers across the U.S., MDA is the leading organization in research and care for kids and adults with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Join me and learn more at helpmda.org today. Thank you.
Well, May is when both when the academic year starts to wind down and Mental Health Awareness Month. Now's the perfect time to help teens prioritize their mental and physical wellness goals during the summer, a critical time when important academic and extracurricular programs such as sports, gym class, and after-school activities are in recess. Planet Fitness National Lead Trainer Teddy Savage joins us today to provide tips and tricks to help teens start and stick with a fitness journey this summer. With the High School Summer Pass program, high schoolers ages 14 to 19 can work out for free from May 15th to August 31st at any Planet Fitness location nationwide. Hi, Teddy. It's good to have you here.
Hey, Cheryl. It's my pleasure to be here.
Can you tell us how today's teens feel about their overall wellness, and what are they thinking about?
Yes, for sure. So Planet Fitness wanted to know just that. We wanted to know what was going on with our teens mentally, so we commissioned a study, and what we found, Cheryl, was that 61% of teens are stating that they're facing mental health challenges, and half of those teens confess that they're having issues with positive body image. Now, 60% also state that they have not made their mental and physical wellness a top priority over the last 12 months. But what we're excited about is the fact that 84% of those teens stated that there's never been a better time to reclaim their fitness than right now, which is why Planet Fitness wanted to launch our third high school summer pass program. And like you stated, it's allowing those teens between the ages of 14 and 19 unlimited free access to any one of our 2,400 plus locations in the U.S. and Canada all summer long until August the 31st. And it's super easy to sign up, Cheryl. All they have to do is go to planetfitness.com/summer pass, or better yet, come on into the Judgment Free Zone. We can't wait to see you.
So what else should teens know about the program?
Well, what they should also know is that we're also giving away $200,000 in scholarships and grants to both high schools and students. So any teens that participate in High School Summer Pass can enter to win one of five $10,000 scholarships, and they can also help their communities because we're also giving away $10,000 grants to the high school that has the highest number of student signups. So it's kind of a win-win situation. And for more information on that contest, they can go to pfsummerpasscontest.com.
So what do you advise a teen who's never been in a gym before?
What I would say is we completely understand. Starting something for the first time can be daunting, but it doesn't have to be. At the High School Summer Pass program, you're going to have access to our awesome certified trainers that can help you answer any questions that you may have about how to get started, maybe how to use the equipment properly. And we've also got full programs designed specifically for high schoolers on our free Planet Fitness app. So again, we understand that the environment that you work out in is just as important as the exercises that you do. So we want our high schoolers to be confident in knowing that we've got what they need.
So are there fitness tips that you would impart to a teen who's either stepping into a gym for the first time or wanting to switch up their fitness routine?
Absolutely. So it starts first with hydration. I want you to stay hydrated before, during, and after your workout to properly fuel your body. And then when you come into the gym, don't go right to the workout. I want you to start with some dynamic stretches to bring blood flow to the muscles and lubricate the joints to offset possible injury and optimize your performance. And then when you get started, this is very important, I want you to prioritize form and technique over how much weight you actually put on the machine. It's super important to lift properly to prevent injuries. And then, Cheryl, lastly, this is probably one of the most important ones as well, rest and recover. As our teens work out and their bodies are changing, soreness is going to be a part of the journey. So I want them to make sure to give themselves some time for those muscles to repair and rebuild.
Well, and you made a point about, wanting to do the exercises properly so that they don't injure themselves. And that's really important because once you've injured yourself with working out, it's really hard to get back into the gym to do it again. It's like the motivation is gone.
For sure. And we want to prevent that upstream, right? We want to make sure that they get all the knowledge they need to not only not hurt themselves, but to get the most potential out of their workout by taking it one step at a time.
Well, Teddy, once again, can you give us the website where they can go to learn more about it?
For sure. Remember, teens, please go to planetfitness.com/summer pass to register today. Or again, better yet, stop into any one of our 2,400 plus locations. The team at the service desk will be more than happy to get you registered right now.
Hey, and it could start a whole new habit, a whole new healthy habit.
That's right.
Teddy, it was a pleasure. Thanks for joining us today.
Always my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, Cheryl.
And if you go into a fitness place like Planet Fitness and there's equipment there that you don't know how to use, ask someone. Don't be intimidated by it. Ask someone how to use it. It might be something that wouldn't do you any good at all, and it might be something that would make a big difference. So.
Needs mowing and your neighbor's yard looks like this. Your shrubs need some trimming. Wichita Lawn Care does it all. Commercial and residential lawn maintenance. Fully insured, offering contactless billing to keep you safe. Fair, dependable, and on time. Services to match the budget. Excellent customer service. A Christian family business. Highly recommended on Google. Wichita Lawn Care LLC. Owner Adam Fry. 316-393-4162. We take pride in what we do.
Hair, that's our business. We're Riverside Hair Station at the corner of 11th and Bidding. We're a cool, funky salon with modern styles and a relaxed atmosphere. Locally owned and operated in the heart of Riverside. Specializing in all hair services, we also offer tanning, nails, massage, waxing, and makeup. Gift certificates are always available. So come experience Riverside Hair Station at 816 West 11th or call 264-4807.
For 32 years, Mark and Sean, with 75 years combined experience, have operated the Derby Radio Shack, doing business at 707 North Baltimore, right on Highway K15. With condensers, resistors, fuses, solid-state electronic components, the largest selection of TV antennas with accessories, and whew, we have just too many things to list them all. You'll find all the parts you hobbyists need and more are in stock. All you ham radio enthusiasts should come in to see our huge inventory of new or used amateur radio and test equipment. Shop assured that Derby Radio Shack has something for everyone. Remember, Derby Radio Shack is still your neighborhood consumer electronics convenience store located at 707 North Baltimore in Derby.
Like so many events where things happen, where questions go unanswered, the assassination of the 35th president, John F. Kennedy, remains one of the great mysteries of American history. The Warren Commission ruled that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, but even the people who accept this version of events agree that there are some truly bizarre things about the tragedy that don't make sense. Take a look at some of the bizarre details that never made sense about John F. Kennedy's death, like bullet holes in the limousine and extra bullets in Dealey Plaza. These things were not made public and have remained hidden all these years. Let's take a look at the file.
side of the building to the emergency room exit, and the presidential limousine was there. Had been standing there for some time just watching the back of the emergency room when I realized that there was a bullet hole in the windshield. Talked to my friend next to me and said, "Look, there's a bullet hole in the windshield," and pointed it out to them. At the time, I did not know any of the details of the shooting. I was quite shocked when I looked up and saw the bullet hole, but it was very clear. It was a through and through bullet hole through the windshield of the car from the front to the back. I don't believe there's even any cracks associated with that bullet hole. It seemed like a high velocity bullet that had penetrated from front to back in that glass pane. At which point a security officer of some type raced forward and jumped in the limousine and drove it off even as I was leaning against it to an area back of us somewhere. And that was the last time I saw the limousine.
The Secret Service made certain no authority in Dallas had an opportunity to examine the bullet damage to Kennedy's car.
And when we got down there near this cover, we were standing near it, and I looked down.
Manhole cover?
Manhole cover, and I saw this piece of dirt raised up like a ground mold, but it didn't go down. It went across the ground, under it. And I bent over, and I traced it for several foot back, and a policeman appeared and traced it with me, and I said, "What in the world is this? It's like a ground mole hole, but I've never seen one so long." And he says, "That's where a bullet went through." Well, that's really interesting, and I think if you want to take the time to look that up on YouTube, you can watch the whole file because there is more. It's like everything else. We've been lied to about this as well as so many other things that are happening today. Be sure and tune in tonight at 7 on Mouthy Broads and call us at 316-337-5501 and join in the conversation, whatever it happens to be, and we'd be happy to talk to you. Be sure and tune in tomorrow at noon with more Your Hour. Thanks for watching and have a great afternoon.
When your yard needs a cleanup and you need help. When your yard needs mowing and your neighbor's yard looks like this. Your shrubs need some trimming. Wichita Lawn Care does it all. Commercial and residential lawn maintenance. Fully insured, offering contactless billing to keep you safe. Fair, dependable, and on time. Services to match the budget. Excellent customer service. A Christian family business.
I'm qualified to say yes. So, Hollywood Disclosure Season 2 on YTA.
Up next on Laura Mackenzie's Traveler, we're off to discover one of the most beautiful cities in Europe.
Florence is a city of flowers.
We'll explore the history, art, and culture of Tuscany's capital.
The new Pitti Palace is incredible. I mean, the Boboli Gardens, all those museums, and art by Raphael.
And make some surprising discoveries.
How about seeing Florence from a whole new perspective?
And in Italy, it's all about the food and wine.
And do they still, stomp on the grapes to make the wine?
Not really. Then shop for that amazing Italian leather.
You know, I just love the Italian markets.
And explore an incredible Tuscan villa. Don't miss it this week from
Tuscany.
And it all happens right now.
What a beautiful day in Italy. Hi, I'm Laura Mackenzie, and today I am in Florence, the capital of Tuscany, and home to some of the most amazing masterpieces of Renaissance art and architecture. It's an incredible place to see, especially here. This is the Piazza della Signoria, just one of the fantastic places you are going to see today.
If you love Italy and all things Italian, then inevitably you'll be drawn here to Tuscany. A gorgeous ensemble of rolling hills, ancient walled cities, expansive vineyards, and olive groves. All rooted in the Upper West Side of the Boot, one of the world's most popular peninsulas. Tuscany's most famous cities include Florence, Pisa, and Siena. The landscape varies: mountains, rolling hills, plains, and rich agricultural areas, each little piece coming together to create a puzzle of paradise. So now, where to start? How about the capital of the region, Florence, the perfect city in which to begin your adventure.
Wow, what a beautiful cathedral. It's called Santa Maria del Fiore. Fiore means flowers. Florence is a city of flowers. Well, here's what's interesting. It's not just a religious cathedral, it's a tribute to the beauty and the wealth and the art here in Florence. In the 1800s, they wanted to honor the musicians and the scientists and the artists, so the busts up under the triangle are of Michelangelo, Galileo, and other people that would make Florence so interesting and powerful.
fabulous.
Based just over 140 miles northwest of Rome, Florence began as a Roman military outpost in the 1st century BCE. Largely established because it served as a practical crossing point on the Arno River, this strategic location also made the city vulnerable to attack. After a period of representative rule, the area was governed by a variety of ruling families, one of which rose to prominence in the 14th and 15th centuries. It was the Medici family whose royal touch is still visible in Florence today. Around the same time, the groundwork for a rebirth was being laid, and Florence was becoming an essential center of art, literature, and science. Once home to Dante, Machiavelli, Michelangelo, Botticelli, and Da Vinci, and so many more thinkers, artists, scientists, and revolutionaries. Right here in wealthy, free, and forward-thinking Florence, the Italian Renaissance was seated. Its roots reached back to the late 1300s. And during the 1400s, the flowers of the Renaissance were in super bloom. Art and architecture from this time remain today.
The new Pitti Palace is incredible. I mean, the Boboli Gardens, all those museums, and art by Raphael. They sure don't make Italian palaces like they used to, huh?
The largest of the Florentine palaces was built on the slopes of Boboli Hill. Bearing the name of its original owner, over time it was home to some of Florence's most influential and ruling families. Another place to get a sense of old Italy is near the original Roman crossing of the Arno River. Aptly named, the old bridge has a fascinating history.
Okay, the Ponte Vecchio in 30 seconds or less. This is the oldest bridge in Florence, built in the 1300s at this point on the river because it's the narrowest and it was the easiest way to cross. Okay, back then, this is where all the butchers would use the river as their garbage dump. So when the Medicis decided to build a passageway up here over the arches between the two palaces, they would look down on the blood and the knives and say, that doesn't look very good. So they moved them, the butchers, down the river, moved in the nice shops and the jewelry stores, and ta-da! Ponte Vecchio today.
This is a medieval stone closed spandrel segmental arch bridge. Try saying that 3 times. It's also an everlasting symbol of Florence. Walking around the area gave me such a memorable sense of the history. It's not the palaces and gardens and rolling vineyards, but there's something about being in the Ponte Vecchio. It's really an incomparable Florentine experience, especially when you get to observe it from another angle.
How about seeing Florence from a whole new perspective? Face it, you've been sightseeing, you've been walking all day, you're a little bit tired. Have a seat, take a break, and see Florence from the river.
I boarded the traditional vintage barchetto for a tour of the Arno River and the buildings that line it.
Welcome, this is the Florence Town Boat Tour, and we're gonna enjoy the Arno River, the Ponte Vecchio, so the most important things that you can see in Florence from a completely different point of view.
The boats themselves have a fascinating history. As with many early human settlements, a source of water nearby was key.
This was used a long time ago for people who were here all day long from dawn to dusk in order to sail the river and gather different materials from the bottom of the Arno River, which were used for the buildings which were in the city center.
You'll recognize the Ponte Vecchio for sure and discover even more about this fascinating landmark.
During the Second World War, all the other bridges were bombed by the Nazis, except that one. That is the oldest bridge of Florence for this reason, because it was created in 1345. On that side, you can see the Uffizi Gallery. Maybe you heard this name before, because this is a very important museum. You can find Botticelli's paintings over there, the famous Birth of Venus, but also the Spring, and also Michelangelo's paintings, Raphael's paintings, and Leonardo's paintings too. And Uffizi means offices.
Over there, the famous Vasari Corridor, made in 1565 to connect the Uffizi Gallery to the Ponte Vecchio. What a fun tour. Up next, we discover the Central Market and the Santa Croce Leather School.
Look at all my holes. Fabulous?
Here's Here's a tip. U.S. and Canadian citizens can travel to Italy for tourism and business for up to 90 days with a valid passport. Laura Mackenzie's Traveler from Florence will be right back.
When the kids turn unholy, Harrelson's Own keeps my patience divine.
When work flies out of control, Harrelson's Own keeps me cool as a cucumber.
The device madness never ends. But Harrelson's Own keeps me zen.
Life can be chaotic, but Harrelson's Own CBD helps keep you calm through any storm. Harrelson's Own consistently delivers you full mind and body homeostasis. It's an organic, full-spectrum CBD in a refreshing oral spray. Our nano-emulsified technology makes it completely water-soluble, so your body absorbs it immediately. You'll start to feel it in seconds, not 60 minutes. It just makes everything feel better.
And it helps me just take the edge off. It helps me relax. It helps me be there with my kids.
I swear I'm like a mental ninja. Like nothing can throw me off balance.
No matter how many things come at me, I'm like, boom, handled, next. I'm like crushing it all day long.
Well, some people take it for a release from stress. Some take it to get rid of pain. Others just take it for general well-being. For me, Brett Harrelson, it just makes everything about my day a little better.
Give your life a boost.
It's just the best you've ever felt in your natural state.
My happiness in a bottle is the best.
So to sum it all up, you're going to feel the benefits quickly, love the way it feels, and like the way it tastes. Pay a fair price, and you're going to thank us for it. We are so confident you're going to be satisfied that we back every bottle with a 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee. Give Harrelson's Own a try, from our family to yours. Go to harrelsonsown.com to order yours now.
Welcome back to Laura Mackenzie's Traveler from Florence. Florence, Italy, the cradle of the Italian Renaissance and a fascinating city to explore. There's so much to see, so you gotta wake up with a plan. Sightsee in the morning, then take advantage of the afternoon to shop and check out your food options. And who doesn't love a good local market? So I discovered the San Lorenzo market and came in with the basics: small bills and bargaining skills.
You know, I just love the Italian markets. For one thing, the leather is really, really great quality. And you can find leather jackets and purses and briefcases. It's amazing. Now, the outdoor market is where you find your leather, your scarves, your souvenirs, your handicrafts. And remember, prices are not fixed. You can bargain a little bit. You want to see what I got? I'll show you. I got a gorgeous scarf. Look at this. They wanted €20. And I said, no, got it for 10. Probably could have got it cheaper, but I love it.
Beyond the stalls of San Lorenzo, don't miss the Central Market, and it's the place to try out the Tuscan cuisine everybody raves about.
Now, indoors is the Central Market. If you looked up there, you could see the gorgeous architecture. It dates back from 1879. Well, the second story has had a whole redo. Now it's all restaurants and stalls, and you can come in here and, for example, you could buy your food and take it home and cook, or you can have it cooked and come down and sit down.
With 2 floors of vendors, you'll have so much to choose from. My advice, leave a lot of time to explore.
We could have a papa al pomodoro, something with tomato, or a beef tongue sandwich. Moving on. Nice. Now that's a pizza. I love that crust.
Every store had its own workspace, and the artisans were busy preparing the freshest foods with the finest ingredients, all to satisfy the curious and the hungry. I just loved walking around and taking it all in.
The pizza station, the pasta station.
I discovered that here, food is synonymous with the culture.
So that's a truffle, huh? To show you how valuable the truffles are, €100 for 1 kilogram. How well do you know your pasta shapes? Farfalla, bow ties, spaghetti, rigatoni, penne, and then, pepperoncino, red pepper.
I left a few pounds heavier than I arrived, but every ounce was worth it. Oh, Central Market, shame on you for being so delicious. Touring Florence is an education in history, art, and cuisine. And I discovered a world-famous school where I could put my leather craftsmanship skills to the test. This gorgeous building is the Basilica of Santa Croce, one of the most popular tourist attractions in Florence. And inside is the School of Leather, a community treasure with an inspirational purpose.
Right now, I'm with Beatrice, who is the granddaughter of the founder. And tell me a little bit about the history of the family and the school.
Of course. So my grandfather, Marcello Gori, founded the school in 1950. The project was thought, let's say, by the Franciscan friars that actually still live in the church. Because here we are in an antique part of the monastery of Santa Croce. And the Franciscan friars in 1950 wanted to help the orphans of World War II. That's why they call my grandfather, because he was an artisan and he used to have a laboratory in Via del Corso. And in 1952, we started to have so many clients from all over the world that we decided to open this workshop.
And tell me about the school today.
So today it's an international school. We have students from all over the world and we offer 3 months and 6 months courses.
Yes, this student came all the way from California, and I was very excited for my lesson in making a handcrafted leather souvenir.
Well, right now I'm at the Leather School at Santa Croce with Ted Teo, who is the master artisan here, and he is going to show us how to make one of these book covers, which I think is great. So how do we get started?
Okay, so we'll start off with choosing a piece of leather that you'll be using for making this personalized book cover.
We will pick the bright green. How's that?
Good. So once you pick the leather for the cover itself, you need to choose a color for the laces.
That would be good.